abandoned at the altar due to infertility. But Apache warrior saw everything, and saved it. Maya's heart raced as she stepped onto the grand platform orbiting the colony. The sky above shimmered with distant stars, and beneath her feet, the city lights of the lower domes flickered like fireflies. Today was supposed to be the happiest day of her life. She had worked so hard, not just as an engineer, but as someone who dreamed of creating something meaningful for humanity's future. And now, she was to marry the heir of one of the most powerful families in the entire colony. Everything seemed perfect, until it was. The platform was a marvel of technology and beauty. Holographic flowers floated around the ceremonial hall, and soft music drifted from unseen speakers, wrapping the guests in a sense of peace. Maya's gown shimmered faintly, embedded with tiny lights that reflected her own pulse. She took a deep breath, reminding herself that this was her moment, that the years of preparation and sacrifice were leading to this instant. But as she approached the altar, a cold silence fell over the crowd. Her fiancé, the heir whose name carried influence over billions, stepped forward. He looked at her not with warmth, not with love, but with a cold, calculating expression. "I cannot do this," he said. The words were simple, but the effect was devastating. Gasps spread through the crowd like wildfire. "Maya, you cannot give me what I need. You cannot have children, and without that I cannot marry you." Maya's knees threatened to buckle. She had expected challenges, whispers, maybe even opposition from those who envied her position. But public humiliation, not like this. She felt the weight of every eye in the hall, every judgment, every expectation crashing down upon her. The whispers of the crowd grew louder, blending into a roar that made her head spin. The doors of the platform sealed shut behind the departing guests. In seconds, the place went from grandeur to silence, and she was alone. Her dreams, so carefully built over years, seemed to crumble into nothing. She felt tears sting her eyes, but she refused to let them fall. Not yet, not in front of the world. From the shadows, a figure observed the chaos. Kiona, a descendant of the Apache warriors, had been invited under the guise of cultural consultation for the ceremony. But she had other eyes on the event, eyes that saw the unfairness, the cruelty, and the injustice. Kiona's cyber-enhanced senses picked up every micro-expression, every quiver of the crowd, every subtle movement of the platform's security systems. She knew immediately that Maya's value was not in her ability to conceive, but in her intelligence, her courage, her determination. Kiona had seen too many societies waste human potential because of narrow thinking. She would not allow this. Kiona moved silently through the platform's side corridors, avoiding the surveillance drones that hovered like metallic ghosts. She disabled a few sensors with a precise pulse from her wrist device. When she finally reached Maya, the young engineer looked as if she might collapse. "You don't have to stay here," Kiona said softly, her voice calm but firm. "They don't get to decide your worth." Maya blinked, surprised. Who are you?" "I am someone who knows what it means to fight for survival," Kiona replied, "and I don't let people be thrown away for reasons that don't matter." With a swift, practiced motion, Kiona helped Maya navigate the labyrinthine service tunnels of the orbital platform. The lights were dim, and the hum of machinery surrounded them like a living organism. Maya's fear started to mix with curiosity. Who was this woman, and why was she helping her? As they moved deeper into the tunnels, Kiona explained, "I am a warrior in my own way, but not the kind that fights for greed or power. I fight for those who are overlooked, those who are abandoned." Maya felt a flicker of hope. It was strange, almost unbelievable, that in the midst of her humiliation, someone had chosen to protect her. But Kiona's presence was reassuring, grounding. She realized that perhaps her life was not over, that perhaps she still had a chance to reclaim her story. Hours passed as they navigated the orbital tunnels. Outside, the stars shimmered, indifferent to human drama, yet Kiona's determination made the vast expanse of space feel less empty. She finally brought Maya to a hidden chamber, a safe place filled with supplies and communication tools. "You can rest here," Kiona said. "Tomorrow, we start planning how to get you back, not just to safety, but to a life where you are valued for who you truly are." Maya sank to the floor, exhaustion overtaking her. But even in her despair, a spark of resolve began to grow. She had been abandoned by someone who saw only limitations, but Kiona saw possibilities. And if this warrior could believe in her, maybe it was time she believed in herself. As the orbital platform rotated silently above the colony, Maya looked out at the stars. Somewhere down there, the world continued, oblivious to her pain. But she was no longer alone. And with Kiona by her side, she knew that even in the darkest moments, human ingenuity and courage could find a way. Maya woke to the soft hum of machinery and the faint glow of emergency lights. The hidden chamber Kiona had brought her to was small but safe. Crates of food and water lined the walls, and a stack of communication devices sat neatly in one corner. It was quiet, peaceful in a way Maya had not felt in weeks. Kiona sat across from her, sharpening a small blade with meticulous care. Even in this simple act, she carried the weight of centuries, a tradition of warriors who never gave up and never let injustice win. Maya watched her silently. Something about Kiona's calm presence made her feel safe, even as the memory of her public humiliation gnawed at her. "We can't stay here forever," Kiona said, finally breaking the silence. "The colony is watching. They will send drones, mercenaries, anyone to find you, but hiding won't fix anything. You need to fight not with violence alone, but with your mind. Your intelligence, your skills, they are your weapons." Maya swallowed hard. Fight. She had never fought anyone physically in her life. She had designed systems, built machines, solved problems. But fight against an entire corporate dynasty and its enforcers, it seemed impossible. Yet Kiona's gaze held no doubt, only certainty. And for the first time since the ceremony, Maya felt a flicker of courage. Over the next few days, Kiona trained Maya. Not just in combat, though there was plenty of that. Tech-assisted martial arts, evading drones, and navigating zero-gravity spaces. But also in strategy, patience, and observation. Kiona taught her how to move silently, how to notice patterns in security systems, how to think like an opponent. Maya soaked it all in, amazed at how her engineering mind could adapt to these lessons. Every skill she learned felt like a tool, every strategy like code that could be executed with precision. One evening, while reviewing schematics of the orbital city, Maya realized something crucial. The platform's AI controlled much more than the lights and doors. It managed the power grid, the surveillance systems, even the drones. With the right interface, she could override the systems, use the city's own intelligence to defend itself instead of obeying the corrupt air. "This is amazing," Maya whispered to Kiona. "We could turn their own systems against them." Kiona nodded. "And that is exactly what we will do, but you must remain careful. Overconfidence is dangerous. A single misstep could cost us everything." They spent weeks preparing. Maya designed nanotechnology that could enhance humans, reflexes, and coordination, small devices that could integrate with Kiona's cyber-enhanced implants. The two of them trained until they moved as one, their actions seamless, almost instinctive. Meanwhile, the corporate air grew desperate. News of Maya's disappearance spread, and with it, rumors of rebellion. The colony began to whisper, questioning the heir's authority and the morality of discarding someone for a medical condition. Kiona observed these shifts carefully. Every whisper, every question, was a piece of the puzzle that would help them when the time came to strike. One night, Kiona and Maya received a coded message from an old ally of Kiona's, a human renegade living on one of the outer orbital stations. He offered them safe passage and support if they could reach him. The journey would be dangerous, through patrol zones and debris fields, but it was a chance to expand their resources. They left the chamber quietly, slipping through maintenance tunnels and airlocks. The city outside glimmered with a deceptive serenity. The patrol drones hovered in patterns that seemed random but were anything but. Maya had to calculate trajectories, predict drone movements, and guide Kiona through the safest paths. Her mind raced, her pulse quickened, and for the first time, fear became a tool rather than a chain. During the escape, they encountered a drone squadron. Kiona moved with the precision of a warrior centuries ahead of her time, her movements a blend of tradition and cybernetic enhancement. Maya, using her knowledge of the AI systems, hacked a nearby maintenance drone and rerouted it to intercept the squadron. Sparks flew, alarms rang, and for a tense few minutes it seemed they might be caught. But Kiona's skill and Maya's ingenuity carried them through. By the time they reached the outer station, they were bruised but unbroken. Their reputation among the human renegades spread quickly. Maya, the engineer who could outthink any system, and Kiona, the warrior who combined ancestral wisdom with futuristic technology. Together, they represented something that the corporate dynasty could not understand. Humans who refused to be limited, humans who refused to be abandoned. At the station, Maya began refining her nanotechnology designs. She worked tirelessly, building prototypes that could enhance human endurance and coordination without causing harm. Kiona trained the renegades in combat tactics, sharing the wisdom of her ancestors while adapting it to the needs of the new era. Slowly, a small but formidable force took shape. The more time Maya spent among the renegades, the more she realized that her life had purpose beyond marriage, beyond societal expectations. Her worth was no longer defined by what she could not do, but by what she could create, what she could protect, and how she could inspire others. Kiona often watched Maya with quiet pride. The young engineer had grown stronger, more confident, and more daring with each passing day. "You have always been capable," Kiona said one night. "You just needed to see it yourself." Maya nodded. "And you showed me that I am not alone. That someone will fight for me when I cannot fight for myself. That changes everything." Together, they plotted their next steps. The corporate heir would not stop, but Maya had discovered something vital. Humans could adapt, learn, and overcome obstacles that seemed insurmountable. Technology was not just a tool, it was an extension of human will. And with Kiona's guidance, Maya could harness both her mind and her courage to challenge tyranny on a scale she had never imagined. As they gazed out at the stars from the outer station, a sense of purpose settled over them. They were not running anymore. They were preparing to reclaim what had been stolen, not with vengeance, but with vision. Humanity's strength lay not in obedience, not in wealth or lineage, but in courage, creativity, and unity. And that strength, once awakened, could not be stopped. Maya stood at the edge of the orbital platform, looking down at the sprawling city below. The festival lights sparkled, masking the tension that churned inside her. This was the moment. The corporate heir would soon reveal his plans to assert total control over the colony, unaware that a small force of humans had risen in defiance. Kiona stood beside her, a calm presence against the storm of adrenaline. Her cyber-enhanced senses scanned every drone, every guard, every hidden camera. "Are you ready?" she asked softly. Maya took a deep breath. "I am. It's time we showed them what humans can do when they refuse to be limited." They moved with precision, navigating the platform's maintenance corridors. Maya's nanotechnology devices were integrated into her neural interface, giving her real-time feedback on the city's AI systems. With a few mental commands, she could override cameras, disable security drones, and reroute power. Kiona followed her silently, every movement a combination of grace and lethal efficiency. As they approached the central hub, a patrol of corporate enforcers appeared. Kiona reacted first, using a swift motion to disarm one guard, her enhanced reflexes allowing her to move faster than the eye could follow. Maya activated a small nanobot swarm, which interfered with the guards' communication implants, creating confusion. Within moments, the hallway was clear, and they continued forward. The hub was a vast chamber filled with holographic screens, control consoles, and rows of drones ready to enforce the heir's will. Maya's fingers danced over the control panel, sending commands through the nanotech interface. She could feel the city itself responding to her thoughts, drones shifting, doors unlocking, lights flickering. Suddenly, the heir appeared on a raised platform, flanked by elite guards. His expression was one of fury and disbelief. "How is this possible?" he shouted. "Who are you to interfere with my authority?" Maya stepped forward, her voice calm but firm. "I am someone who refuses to be discarded. You saw me as limited, but humans are stronger than you imagined. You cannot control us by fear or lineage." Kiona moved to intercept the guards, her combat skills unmatched. Each movement was precise, efficient, and deadly without lethal force. She disabled drones and incapacitated guards with calculated strikes, allowing Maya to maintain control over the AI systems. The battle of wits and skill intensified. The heir attempted to regain control, issuing commands to the AI, but Maya's neural link was faster. She rerouted power, disabled security systems, and broadcasted evidence of the heir's corruption across the entire colony. Holographic screens in the festival below displayed his deceit, his public humiliation, and the truth about his greed. Panic spread among his followers. Citizens began questioning his authority, and murmurs of rebellion grew louder. Maya and Kiona pressed forward, knowing that timing was everything. Every movement, every decision relied on human ingenuity, teamwork, and the courage to defy tyranny. The heir, realizing his power slipping, tried to activate a self-defense mechanism, an array of drones armed with non-lethal but dangerous devices. Kiona anticipated his move, using her enhanced agility to neutralize the drones, while Maya hacked into the system to turn them against the empty corridors. Sparks flew, alarms rang, and chaos erupted, but it was controlled chaos. Maya's nanotechnology began interacting with the city's AI in a more profound way. She didn't just control drones or doors. She used the network to protect civilians, block attacks, and create safe paths for citizens to evacuate the festival area. The city became a shield, a living network defending humanity against one man's greed. The heir made one final attempt, rushing toward Maya with a device meant to disrupt her neural link. Kiona intercepted him, moving faster than thought, their combat a dance of skill and precision. The heir was disarmed and the device destroyed. For the first time, he looked truly powerless. Maya stepped forward, her calm voice echoing through the hub and into the festival below. Authority is not about wealth or birthright. Strength is about courage, innovation, and unity. Humanity will not be limited by fear or prejudice. With that, she activated the final protocol. The AI systems fully embraced her commands, neutralizing all remaining threats and broadcasting the heir's corruption and incompetence to every screen in the colony. Citizens erupted in applause, not just for Maya and Kiona, but for the idea that humans could rise above oppression. The heir was stripped of his authority, escorted by his own guards who now saw the truth. Kiona watched silently, knowing that their work was far from over, but that today humanity had won a decisive victory. In the aftermath, Maya was celebrated not for her ability to bear children, but for her mind, her courage, and her leadership. Kiona's legacy as a warrior was honored, showing that tradition and innovation together could overcome even the greatest threats. Maya and Kiona stood together on a balcony overlooking the city. The stars stretched endlessly above them, the colony alive with lights, hope, and new possibilities. "We did it," Maya said softly, her heart full of pride and relief. "Yes," Kiona replied, "and this is only the beginning. Humans will always find a way." As they looked to the stars, they both knew that the true strength of humanity was not in power, lineage, or physical ability, but in courage, ingenuity, and the refusal to accept limits. Today they had proven it, and the galaxy would never forget.